So I'm joined this morning by Andy Ford, who is standing to be a member of the executive committee of Unite the Union. Could you just introduce yourself, Andy, and tell us who you are, where you've worked, and what position you're standing for on the executive?
Andy Ford, Andrew Ford on the ballot paper. I'm the rep in Manchester Blood Centre, NHS Blood and Transplant at the moment. I was the rep in Liverpool Centre. I've been a rep for 30 years. I agreed to do it for 1 year only in 1989, and I'm chair of the risk, and I attend the national committee as well for health. I'm the rep in Manchester and do all the casework and restructures, redundancies, negotiations, everything like that.
And you're standing for the health position on the EC, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, there's three seats in health, and then you also have regional seats. But I'm standing in the industrial sector because that's where I'm mainly based.
Okay. So what do you think are the most important issues facing Unite members at the moment in the health sector? And if you got elected to the EC, how would you address them?
Right. We have absolutely no shortage of issues. We've got privatisation. We've got services being cheaply transferred back and forth, different trusts or even out to private providers. Like Virgin just taken over a lot of health visiting in the southwest. We've got cuts to funding, which the government call efficiency savings. They translate into unfilled vacancies or even redundancies. We've got the closure of NHS England, catastrophic. Got low pay. Lowest pay in the NHS now is minimum wage. It's an absolute disgrace. And we've got hidden attacks on terms and conditions where management will reinterpret a long-standing term and condition into something completely different. The thing we often discuss is a lot of hospitals are forcing people to work on bank for straight time instead of what they're entitled to under the terms and conditions, which is time and a half. But we've got all that to deal with, but the model we've got is not working. The model we've got it's like the AA, where you have a problem at work and the full-time officer will come and sort it out. And that doesn't work because you can't have a full-time officer for everyone's problem in work, for everyone in the union. There's 100,000 people in the NHS. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do is get back to organising and making workers in the workplaces self-organised and helping each other and not just waiting for a full-time officer to turn up and solve all their problems.
Right.
And that means funding the grassroots, funding the branches, supporting the reps, letting the reps come together. The way we behave and the way we structure ourselves does affect how industrially effective we are. And we used to meet before in Unite, actually, all the reps in health in a region would meet quarterly, and you'd split up into different trades and occupations and talk through your issues and help each other and make agreements. So we're not going to accept less than 6 years pay protection, whatever it would be, and pick off with a bit of a plan. So we just at the moment, the system just overloads the full-time officers.
How important do you think membership involvement is? I mean, you talked about involving people in terms of the structure and the problems in the health sector. So how important do you think membership involvement is in the union, and how can it be improved?
Well, membership involvement is completely fundamental, and it's the key to everything else. It's the key to winning good agreements. It's key to defending jobs. It's key to defeating bullying, racism, and putting money in people's pockets. And I always say, if you put money in people's pockets and members' pockets, they then will listen to you about equalities and politics. But if you haven't done that, why would they listen to you? So we need to improve involvement in the union. And we do have some very low turnouts in our union elections. And people sometimes criticise the members, why aren't they interested? But the fact of the matter is our own structures push people out or act as barriers. They block more people from participation than they allow into the structures. For instance, in health in North West, with maybe 200 reps, 24 of us are elected to the regional health committee. But what happens to the other 175? And the answer is not a lot. We turn up every 3 years and have an election. Off we all go. And those other 175 then are left doing grievance, disciplinary. And their only link to the union is one overworked full-time officer.
Right.
They're the people we need to reach and involve. I mean, they're gold dust, aren't they? Those people are gold dust who've put themselves out to try and make a difference. We need to give them more. But the structures we have don't do that. Okay. They can't go to conference. They can't attend the regional committee. They might go on a training course or two if it's organised. So that's the key. And then we'd be industrially effective. This is all about being industrially effective.
The union often talks about it being a member-led union. But is that true, do you think? Or how does the union need to change its democratic structures to make it genuinely member-led?
Well, as I said before, when you look at our structures, they exclude far more people than they do include. You you can only even take part in this union if you are a rep, which isn't a whole lot of people, isn't it? And then the people who really get involved are the people on the regional industrial committees. So if you do the maths, there's 10 regions and 20, each one with 20 sectors, which has 20 people on it, and you get to about 4,000 people nationally who can be involved. If you add in the equality structures, you might get to 10,000. That's 1% of the members. That's 1% of the members who can take part in our structures. Out of that 1%, we're trying to support the whole structure of the national committees, the conference, the political structure. So the ideas I've got, and it's not a monopoly on wisdom, is if we reinvigorate the branches, each branch could send a delegate to the regional committee, to national conferences. And the thing about branches, anyone can go there, and if they put the work in, they might get elected to a position. And so in theory, then you've got 1 million people who can take part in the structure instead of the 1% who are under our present setup can take part in the structure. And it's not rocket science. It's how the unions were built in the first place. It's how the union worked up until we formed Amicus or Unite, which is about, 20 years ago. So there's been a slow process of decay of the union's own grassroots. There's been some reversal under Sharon Graham, but not enough.
Another big issue just now is the whole relationship between Unite and the Labour Party historically. Do you think Unite's done enough inside the Labour Party, or how do you see the future relationship of the union and the party?
I feel like Unite hasn't really tried to change the Labour Party. We've sort of flip-flopped. Under McCluskey, there's a lot of toleration of bad behaviour. When Corbyn was in charge, Unite was involved with that, but didn't do it very well and ducked the crucial issue. And that was down to Len McCluskey that ducked the crucial issue about open selection of MPs, because obviously the MPs should be selected democratically, and then you might get some decent ones. Like everyone else, I think Starmer's disgrace. His policies are not much different to Rishi Sunak's, but we all know that. What do we do about it? And we do have the money, we do have the people to fund and create and organise opposition to Starmer and Starmerism. What I've come to believe, which is different to what some people believe, I don't think we can get policy change of the Labour Party without changing the leadership very, very fundamentally. They've got to go. So with Keir Starmer, the internal in health, privatisation is still out there, the internal market is still there, social care is still unresolved. It all needs change, and the only way to do it is to change the personnel. We've got great policies in Unite, and some of them carried into the Labour Party. So you've got to re-establish democracy of the Labour Party. So what we could do, we got the money, we could organise a structure of opposition to Starmerism within the Labour Party, mirroring the structure of the Labour Party. We could take part in this latest campaign that's been launched.
Restore Labour democracy, innit?
Restore Labour democracy,
yeah.
That's right. We could take part in that and take part in it meaningfully and fund it. But the main thing is to establish a clear alternative set of policies which are argued for and organised for within the structures to open up a clear gap between the trade union part of the Labour Party and the rotten clique, and there aren't even that many of them, who are dominating the policy of the Labour Party and actually dominating the appointment of personnel within the Labour Party. And if we have to say, and we should say, Starmer should go, all his acolytes should go, they're causing more harm than anyone ever before. And if we're not careful, we end up with the Reform government. You can forget about the Employment Rights Act. It'll probably be something like American trade union law or Argentinian trade union law if Reform win. And currently Reform are on for 300 seats, I think, unless something changes. The Greens might overtake them. And Reform would vanish if the Labour Party was moved back to being a working class party under working class control, or even under union control. Reform would just evaporate because most of their voters are frustrated Labour voters, in my opinion.
You're standing as an independent here. There are two main slates standing for election, but you're not on either of them. Do you think that's an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's a disadvantage if all I wanted to do was park myself on the EC of the union, and I could have probably done it if I'd buttered the right parsnips, you could say. I could have been probably on either slate, I suppose, but that's not what this is about. I'm standing to tell the truth. I've just seen over the years a real neglect of the union's own base and grassroots and us as reps. And we keep the whole thing going, but no one seems that bothered. They just assume we'll always have reps coming through in hospitals and trusts. So there's been this slow motion car crash of our lay member structures. And just feel someone needs to say that it's, first of all, it's happening, and secondly, to offer some solution. Now, if we had rebuilt the grassroots structures, we'd become industrially effective, we'd start putting money in people's pockets, and then we would be able to build a base for the policies that we need, and, you know, to change the Labour Party, to change the health service, to change industry. But it's got to start with the very basics, which is bringing people together, organising them, treating anyone who puts their name down to be a rep like a precious resource, not another email to answer. They are, anyone who's put their name down, anyone who's a rep is one in 1,000. So we need to nurture them, develop them, and value them. I think most of the reps feel that they are not valued, and certainly weren't under McCluskey. They were in words, but in deeds not.
So do you see any role for like a broad left based on the membership of the union, and how would that be organised ideally for you?
Well, I did have a debate with someone who said, well, you're criticising the fact that everything's sewn up by slates, but you're not on a slate yourself. But the point is, there's nothing wrong with slates in and of themselves. And in a mass organisation of 1 million people, you would need some sort of organised groupings to clarify the way forward and debate the way forward. The most important thing about the slates is who's on them, not what they're going to do or believe in. It's, are you on the slate? Are you not on the slate? And then the participation drawing up of those slates, I couldn't tell you how it was done. I don't think many people could. So you'd have a democratic organisation of lay members, and entry to the group, any group, would be based around agreement on some quite fundamental political industrial principles. It'd be principles, not machine politics. And then people could participate in it and argue for their point of view. And the personnel who sit on committees will be selected by the members of the grouping. That's called an open and democratic broad left, which has existed sometimes within the unions to one degree or another. But it has, in some of the unions, it's also been a very, very secret society type of organisation, which is not right.
Yeah.
And that happens because the people in charge do not have confidence in the members. They don't believe they make the right decision. So they think, oh, we've got to do it for them. We know best. You know, it's a kind of supreme being type of idea.
Thanks, Andy, for that. When does the voting start and finish?
It began on 23rd of March and it closes 27th of April. You know, it's the best part of the month still to go. A lot of people with these voting papers put them behind the clock and forget to fill them in. So
we need to make sure people vote, and all the very best, and good luck to you in your campaign. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.